Welcome to As a Crow Flies Hiking and the continuation of my video series on backpacking with a hammock. I have searched around and wanted to find the best choices for me for a backpacking hammock, a underquilt, a tarp, and then all the accessories. So this is the second video. It is the underquilt, and what you see here is the choice that I have made. In the first video, I chose the Walhalla Hammocks and Outdoors customized hammock, and that is the hammock you see here. Now, I want to talk about my choice for an underquilt. This is the Mount Washington 3 by JacksRBetter. JacksRBetter has been around a long time, and they're innovators in the underquilt world of backpacking and hammocks and know what they're doing. And so I contacted Don from JacksRBetter, and he recommended the Mount Washington 3 and sent it to me to review and to use for my backpacking hammock setup. So let's get into it. First, it is a 20-degree underquilt. The Mount Washington also comes in the number 4, which is a 0-degree underquilt. But I wanted the 20, and I think this will work good for me in the Southeast. Some of the specs on the Mount Washington underquilt is that it is 77 inches long, so it's good coverage on the whole body. It is 42 inches wide, so that is a really good width and something that JacksRBetter really stands by in a 42-inch width of their underquilts. It is a 2.5-inch loft of down. It's 850 fill down, and it comes in at around 19 ounces for the weight. So not ultralight, but they do offer an ultralight version of this that gets it down to about 15 ounces or maybe a little less. I chose the regular 19 ounce because I believe that that will fit me fine and work for my backpacking setup. So let's really get into some of the innovative features of the JacksRBetter underquilt. One of the biggest things about the JacksRBetter quilts is what they call the dual differential cut. Now, what does that mean? Well, I'm no expert on all of that stuff, but they've done their testing. And what they believe that is best for an underquilt is that the inner fabric, the black fabric here, is shorter and less width than the outer fabric. That's the dual differential cut, shorter and less width than the outer fabric. And why is that? Well, when you get in an underquilt, the biggest thing you want is to make sure that you don't have the underquilt too tight up against the hammock or too loose. If it's too loose, then you're gonna have a draft. If it's too tight, then you can compact some of this down, and then the down is not going to be giving you the warmth that it needs to be, because it needs to be fluffy and it doesn't need to be compacted. So they made the outer fabric a little bit longer and a little bit wider so that the loft does not compact itself. And that's important because if you have a 2.5-inch loft on this 20-degree underquilt and it's compacted any, then you're gonna lose that and it becomes a 30-degree or a 40-degree underquilt. So that's what they've done. They've done a dual differential cut to make sure that the loft stays where it is. So even if you pull it too tight, you have some breathing room there and that this won't compact. They've also done a no-seam mesh in the middle of these two fabrics. Allow it to, as you sit down in the hammock, you're simply going to compact your body and curve your body. So what they've done with the no-seam mesh is made it like an upside-down smile. So when you sit down in it, it's going to make it flat and it's not going to compact the down in the underquilt. They also decided that 42 inches is the perfect width for an underquilt. They've done their testing, and I don't know all that testing, but they believe that when you lay in your hammock, 42 inches will be the perfect way to basically hug you in the underquilt and make sure that you're warm all the way around. The other thing that's really unique about JacksRBetter underquilts is the suspension system. They have two small carabiners, like micro carabiners, and you hold those, do a girth hitch on one side, and then pull it through, do another girth hitch, and then you attach it to the bottom and the top, the head end and the foot end of the hammock. And that way, you really pull this thing exactly where it needs to be. It's a really unique feature. It's not one I've seen before, and it works very well. The last thing I'd like to talk about is the fact that the baffling is horizontal instead of vertical. Why is that? Well, they've done their testing at JacksRBetter, and they believe that the way gravity does with baffling and down, as you lay in it, the gravity is going to make the down kind of settle. If it settles horizontally, it's going to settle in the place that it needs to be. And all these different baffles create the settling in the place that it's supposed to be. Whereas if you have it vertically and you lay down and the down settles, then the down's going to move to the middle and you could get cold below your knees or above your shoulders. So that's why they've done it horizontally instead of vertically. Now, does it take more time? Yes, and that's why it's made in the United States. It's a little bit more sewing involved and a little bit more work involved, but that's why JacksRBetter are better. Now, for my top quilt, I will simply use my Enlighten equipment or Get Out Gear top quilt, depending on what I want. But this was mostly about the underquilt. The top quilt, I believe, will either be a 40 or 20, depending on what kind of season I'm in. In fact, JacksRBetter has a great website and they run you through all their options. But one of the unique options they have is to buy 3 quilts, a 20, a 0, and a 40. And they're interchangeable between top and underquilt. So you can use it however you want and use the 0 on the bottom or the 0 on top, depending on how you want to use it for your season. I looked at the Greylock 3 and 4, which is not a full length, 3/4 length. But I really wanted the full length because I want to make sure that I'm warm. I'm typically gonna get cold. Thank you guys for watching this episode of As the Crow Flies Hiking and my choice for an underquilt for the backpacking setup for hammocking. And I'll see you on the next episode, which will be my choice for a tarp for this backpacking hammock setup. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next adventure.